Hi, and thanks for watching this video series about the City of Saratoga's housing element update. You can find the other videos in this series at www.saratoga.ca.us/housing. If you've already watched those videos or attended community meetings, you've probably heard some new terms. So in this video, we'll share our housing element glossary to give you the A to Z of the update process. If you'd prefer to read the definitions yourself, a written version of this glossary is also available on the city's website. We'll start with some of the main terms you'll hear throughout the update process. A general plan is a city's long-term policy document that provides guidance to manage its physical, social, and economic resources. The general plan identifies the community's shared vision for the future, and it addresses that city's unique character and needs. All of this information is used as the foundation for decisions that affect future growth and development. General plans must address 7 different elements, which are like different chapters that focus on specific topics. The housing element is one of the 7 state-mandated elements of a local general plan, and it's the blueprint for future housing development. It assesses the existing and projected housing needs of all income segments of the community, identifies potential sites adequate to provide the amount and kind of housing needed, and contains adopted goals, policies, and implementation programs for the preservation, improvement, and development of housing. Under state law, housing elements must be updated every 8 years. Projected housing needs across California are determined by the state. The Regional Housing Needs Allocation, or RHNA, is a requirement of state housing law and is a process that determines projected housing needs for all cities and counties in California. The process to determine a RHNA allocation is conducted every 8 years. Every jurisdiction must plan for its RHNA allocation in its housing element to ensure zoning regulations and potential housing sites can accommodate their allocation. The Association of Bay Area Governments, or ABAG, is the regional council of governments for the San Francisco Bay Area. This includes the counties of Santa Clara, Alameda, Contra Costa, Marin, Napa, San Francisco, San Mateo, Solano, and Sonoma. The Association of Bay Area Governments is responsible for crafting a methodology to divvy up the housing needs among all of the jurisdictions within this region and assigning each city and county with its RHNA. HCD is the California Department of Housing and Community Development, which reviews every local government's housing element to determine whether it complies with state law and then submits feedback. HCD's approval is required before a local government can adopt its housing element as part of its overall general plan. Jurisdictions that fail to revise and submit their housing element to HCD may be left with very little say over all future development, from building permits to subdivisions and use permits. They may also be subject to financial penalties and loss of grant funds, such as those used for maintaining local roads. Consultants are hired by cities and counties to help them prepare their housing element updates. Consultants typically prepare site inventories and suitability analysis, evaluate the effectiveness of past programs, draft the new housing element, and prepare environmental documents. An environmental impact report, or EIR, is a report to inform the community and a jurisdiction's decision makers of significant environmental impacts of proposed projects, identify possible ways to minimize those effects, and describe reasonable alternatives to those projects. Now let's dive into some housing-specific terms. Inclusionary housing policies require or provide incentives to reserve a percentage of units in new market rate developments for low and moderate income families. Income levels are based on the area median income, which the State Department of Housing and Community Development determines annually for each county. Housing elements are required to plan for housing for all income levels. For calendar year 2021, these income levels range from less than $82,000 to more than $181,000 for a 4-person household using the current area median income for Santa Clara County. While affordable housing covers many different income levels and price ranges, what makes housing affordable is the ratio of housing costs to household income. HCD has determined that a project can be considered affordable if there are a minimum of 20 units per acre. Accessory dwelling units, or ADUs, have been known by many names: granny flats, in-law units, backyard cottages, secondary units, and more. An accessory dwelling unit is an attached or detached residential unit that provides complete independent living facilities, including a bedroom, kitchen, and bathroom. A junior accessory dwelling unit is no larger than 500 square feet and is contained entirely within an existing or proposed single-family home or accessory structure. It may include its own bathroom or share with the existing home. Promoting development of ADUs can be one solution to increasing the supply of affordable housing. However, the city cannot rely entirely on ADUs to meet its RHNA allocation. The way housing supplies have typically been increased is through the work of housing developers and property owners. Developers purchase land, develop the building program and design, obtain the necessary public approval and financing, build the structures, and either sell or rent out and manage the housing. In recent years, there has been a shift in the way that the state views cities' obligations related to their housing elements. Rather than viewing planning for housing as the responsibility of local governments and housing development as the responsibility of developers and property owners, the state has adopted new laws requiring cities and counties to take increased responsibility to ensure that the state-determined housing needs are actually built, in addition to planning for them in the housing element. If developers and property owners fail to construct new housing in alignment with RHNA targets, the city could be subject to the lower affordability thresholds of Senate Bill 35, often referred to as SB 35. This state law provides that in cities and counties where development is not on track to meet projected housing needs, qualifying multifamily residential projects are subject to by right approvals. This means there is no discretionary review or public input process for these projects, and this is all required to happen on an accelerated timeframe. Site inventory and feasibility are also identified in the housing element update process. The housing element must identify specific sites that are appropriate and available for residential development during the planning period. If the sites require rezoning, they can still be included in the inventory, as long as the housing element includes a program to accomplish the rezoning concurrently with the housing element or prior to the start of the planning period. Preparing a site feasibility analysis is the second step in addressing the adequate site requirement. In addition to providing a list of sites, cities must prepare an analysis that demonstrates which sites can accommodate housing needs at different income levels. Zoning is a tool that most cities use to govern which uses are allowed in specific areas, like residential, commercial, or industrial. It also identifies the size of the buildings, such as height and density, and how buildings relate to their surroundings, including other buildings, open spaces, and the street. Mixed-use development projects have housing as well as other uses, such as office or commercial, integrated in a single building or on a single site. Height limits define the maximum height new homes can be built, which can be defined in numbers of stories or in feet. Density is the number of residential units on a given piece of land. Examples of different densities include 1 unit per acre, 4 units per acre, or 20 units per acre. The higher number of units per acre, the higher the density. Higher levels of density can often be achieved on smaller lots by building up and allowing more stories to be built. Typically, homes on Cox Avenue in Saratoga are 4 units per acre, so lots are about 10,000 square feet, while homes in the hillsides are 2 acres minimum. Some of the most dense housing in Saratoga is located in the Village. A density bonus is the development right under state law that requires local governments to allow additional residential units, additional building square footage, and other exceptions to development standards in exchange for the construction of affordable units in certain circumstances. These are just some of the most common terms you'll hear as Saratoga updates its housing element and considers different policy options and strategies to plan for over 1,700 new homes. We hope this glossary will be helpful throughout the process, and if there are any other terms you think we should add to the online version, please let us know. This information is also available on the city's website at www.saratoga.ca.us/housing, where you can watch the other videos in this series and sign up to receive the Housing Element newsletter to never miss an update throughout the process. There's another video that discusses different priorities and values the community will need to consider as part of this process. After watching the priorities and values video, please take our online survey. This will help shape the policy options we'll use in Saratoga's updated housing element. At the upcoming community meetings in June, we will discuss the results of that survey and consider strategies we may use. You can find the schedule for those community meetings on the website as well. Thanks again for watching, and we look forward to working through the housing element update process with you.